I wasn't expecting to make another Modern Warfare 2 video immediately after yesterday's, but here we are. Today we're running down the alpha that may have potentially leaked from Modern Warfare 2 and what we can expect, along with a few other key bits of insight provided from insiders in the industry. As we go along, drop your thoughts down below. What are you hoping to see out of these reveals firstly, and then maybe even what would you like to see out of the alpha? Drop your thoughts below, and if you enjoy the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on the video. And if you're new to the channel, do be sure to subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2. We're gearing up for quite a bit here in the coming weeks, so if you'd like to stay on top of all of it, I'd love to have you in the community. And finally, in celebration of the Operation Monarch King Kong vs. Godzilla launch event here this past week, and then the push towards more Modern Warfare 2 insight, today's the last day that my friends at G Fuel have code Espresso bumped up to 30% off your entire order. So if you'd like to try something out for the very first time, grab a restock. Whatever the case, now is as best a time as any. Saves you a bit of decent cash with each order. I'd highly recommend Hype Sauce, Pink Drip, the new Morbius Nectarine flavor, Starfruit, and Strawberry Banana. That's probably my top 5 right now. Can't go wrong with any of those, but if you're interested, links in the description below. That said, let's jump into it. Today's report comes from Ralph's Valve. I'm sure that you've become accustomed with his intel here lately, and if you're not, well, this track record checks out. Today, he did what I think may be the first of its kind in terms of his reporting, but he gave an exclusive to a website on his scoop, which fortunately for us means that it gives a lot more context and insight than the 240 characters that Twitter affords per tweet would allow us to see. So we learned a bit more here out of this than just a tweet or two, which is definitely nice. I'll drop the link in the description below for the full report if you guys want to check it out for yourselves. But firstly, Ralph elaborated a bit on what we've heard the last couple of weeks to months in regards to the reveal timetable. We saw our first teasers here with Ghost underneath a set of stairs from the Infinity Ward socials a few weeks back, and then a few days later, we got that full-on confirmation of Modern Warfare 2 as teased by an official sort of mini trailer here that revealed that, and the name of it from the Call of Duty Twitter account, but also when the logo itself was tweeted by Infinity Ward. But since then, it's kind of been radio silence. We've yet to see anything really official in that regard. Ralph, though, elaborated in his report that we should be seeing a few new teasers here leading up to the reveal, which realistically should be any day by now, potentially even this week perhaps, because while the Operation Monarch event is going on still, next week, not this upcoming, but the week following, should be the Season 3 Reloaded update, that Season 3.5 update for Warzone and Vanguard. So to not overshadow that, maybe we may see something here in this next upcoming week, but then following, we may see that as well with what he stated was the final teaser for Infinity Ward looks to be slated on June 2nd, with a reveal expected for early June, a date that he later cites as potentially being June 8th, which would make things pretty interesting for a pair of reasons here. Number one, that would be, by traditional accounts, the latest Call of Duty reveal in COD history. And I say that while looking at the traditional marketing approach to Call of Duty reveals. Not the Warzone event reveals that we've seen debut trailers here the last 2 years, but before Warzone's inclusion and platform for reveals, the latest that we'd ever seen a Call of Duty revealed was Modern Warfare 2019, which was revealed on May 30th. And that was believed to even be, for some time here, the reveal date for Modern Warfare 2 as well, coming a full circle that 3-year mark in a sort of poetic stance. However, that doesn't seem to be the case now, but also for number 2, June 8th is interesting because it's only one day before Summer Games Fest, where it's rumored that we'll see something in regards to Modern Warfare 2 debut there as well. That's rumored from both teases from Ralph, but also the historical partnerships that we've seen with things happen at gaming expos in years prior. Things like E3, this with Summer Games Fest, and Opening Night Live. We've seen plenty of different festivals and expos debut things right after a Call of Duty game has been revealed. With it being so close to that, one potentially could maybe chalk this up to say that it's a rave release of the reveal trailer, right? But it turns out we may actually be getting a look at some raw gameplay from the campaign as presented by this report. That would have been my guess for quite some time, but again, with the close proximity to the game simply being revealed, it is fair to question that maybe we wouldn't see something brand new here, but instead just a rehash of that reveal trailer on a larger and more broadcast platform to do so. But thankfully, it seems like we may be getting even more with that campaign gameplay. Now, according to Ralph, though, we're likely going to be seeing a little bit of everything in this reveal trailer, which is pretty cool, but I'm also really curious to see how this will be approached overall. He stated reports suggest June 8th to ultimately showcase the reveal trailer, with an appreciable amount of information regarding the brand new engine, multiplayer, and the anticipated third mode DMZ to pair alongside the reveal. Infinity Ward also plans on addressing their aims and intentions for what they set out to do with the next generation of Call of Duty. So, not entirely sure how this will be accomplished. I mean, we see glimpses of multiplayer in the way of a cut map and Warzone in the way of the opening of the C-130 in the Modern Warfare 2019 reveal. Those were hidden in plain sight, but if you were watching that on day one when that trailer dropped, before any idea of what multiplayer would hold ahead of its launch, and also before Warzone ever was a reality, you'd really have no idea that that's what we were looking at in that trailer. So I'm kind of wondering if that will be the same situation and approach here with Modern Warfare 2's trailer. But outside of that, Ralph also revealed a little bit about what he's heard for the alpha for Modern Warfare 2, something that we've seen more and more the last couple of years. Modern Warfare 2019 being the first playable alpha that we ended up getting, that being an introduction of gunfight. The year following, we ended up actually getting a more traditional MP approach here with the alpha, and Black Ops Cold War with a handful of weapons, a handful of maps on rotation there, and then with Vanguard, we ended up getting the Champion Hill alpha here, giving us our first glimpse at Vanguard's multiplayer. A full-on beta is something we'll definitely see here later on down the line, but an alpha has been a relatively more recent past introduction here with this. But he ended up reporting, according to those acquainted with Call of Duty's schedule, we should start seeing live internal gameplay during the month of July, whilst the general public will be able to play firsthand in early August, meaning that August probably will be our first introduction here to this, which makes the following schedule rather interesting here if we're going to see an October launch, because usually we see a game go gold about a month before the game is actually shipped. That gives time for the game to be pressed to discs, sent out, and everything like that, finalized for their actual ship of the game. But that means that if we're going to say see maybe a late October launch, that would mean a game would have to be pressed and certified gold in late September, meaning that the beta should then have a relatively quick turnaround from this playable alpha, likely exclusive, and we'll talk about that here in just a second, but we'll see that probably for one weekend here in early August, then maybe early September is when we start to see that beta for Modern Warfare across all the platforms that it'll be on. And realistically speaking, that actually is something that would check out when we look at the overall traditional marketing that we've seen in the past. Modern Warfare 2019, the last game that we saw with the traditional marketing approach here, ended up having the first weekend of the beta start September 12th of 2019. So while it is something that may seem condensed, it actually does check out pretty well. Now, one thing that was also mentioned here with this is that Ralph said that once again, the alpha for Modern Warfare 2 looks to be gunfight, that 4-player 2v2 versus mode. That's something that right now I'm kind of on the fence on. On one hand, I don't really want to see this. I'd much rather experience a singular map in terms of multiplayer gameplay with a handful of weapons to give a more accurate representation of what we'll see in terms of overall gameplay for Modern Warfare 2, because gunfight is a fun mode, but I can probably take it only in stints of like 5 to 6 games at a time before I'm like, all right, well, kind of over this. I'll come back to it at a later point. But on the other hand, the alpha itself is something to be a very, very first tease of the gameplay that we can play as consumers. So it's not something that should be a huge window into the experience overall, but instead just a very small offering. So that's something that I'm kind of on the fence with. Feel free to make your own decisions here with this, your own opinions on it, but that's something that Ralph has mentioned. But finally, the last thing I want to talk about here in regards to this alpha that wasn't mentioned by Ralph or anything, but is likely going to happen just based off of what we've seen in the past here, is that this is probably going to be exclusive, and I would imagine to PlayStation only. That Microsoft acquisition is not something that has been finalized just yet. Microsoft does not own the Call of Duty IP, does not own any of the other Activision IPs out there as well. So right now, that licensing agreement between Sony and Activision is still active and ongoing. So that means that we're likely going to see this be something that is only for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 users, which is unfortunate. I think the time for console exclusivity is well past. I don't think that it has any place in the current gaming market. But at the same time, if this is the only thing that we end up seeing exclusive, I guess it could be worse. Vanguard, by comparison, in terms of exclusivity, has very little compared to what we saw with Black Ops Cold War and even Modern Warfare 2019, where certain subsections of the game were actually exclusive for an entire year. Vanguard, you only end up getting like another 24 hours on XP events that happen in-game, and then also I think a little bit more bonus in terms of either your battle pass or like party up XP, I forget which one it is, but it's very minimal by comparison. So if this is the only thing that we see as exclusive, I think that I'd be okay with that with the next year or two going forward. But that's where we're at here at this. That is the alpha and subsequent information leading up to the reveal that has been leaked by Ralph, an insider here that we've seen check out with his track record quite a few times. So that's what we're going to call it. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What are you guys hoping to see here out of the reveal and or alpha? Is there anything in particular you guys are looking forward to? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 2. We'll keep you up to date with absolutely any and everything you need to know. So that said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.